17 blocked shots and 38 steals. Hawley with 11 double-doubles this season for Tarleton. Had 21 and 11 against Angelo State on Thursday, and that came right after he was held to single digits for just the second time this season. Back inside the spec for the second half of today's doubleheader. The Javelinas against the Tarleton State Texans. Hogs trying to get back on track after having a 6-game win streak snap against Thursday against A&M Commerce, a game they lost 80-77. Tarleton, meanwhile, in a similar spot. They had won a couple games in a row before losing to Angelo on Thursday. The losses by these two teams on the same day allowed the Hogs to keep hold of a one-game edge over Tarleton for the number 4 spot in the Lone Star Conference. And for the Javelinas, the talk was after that game was a new streak starts today. A new streak starts on Saturday after that loss to Commerce, a game in which Commerce got out to a big lead. The Javelinas tied it up twice after Commerce made their lead double digits, but the Hogs just couldn't get over the hump and take the lead after that, and eventually lost that game by 3. And this Javelina team revolving around a team approach on offense for Sean Thomas and Darius Mickens atop the team leaderboard in points per game with better than 9 points. The Havs, during their 6-game winning streak, had 9 different players score in double figures at least once. And the Hogs going up against a Tarleton team that can flat out shoot. They lead the LSC in field goal percentage both overall and from 3. Or check that they're second in both of those categories in the conference. They're also second in the conference in free throw percentage. The starters for Tarleton State, beginning with the guards. Senior Corinthian Ramsey, a 5'10" senior from Arlington, Texas. Randall Brody, a junior guard from Temple Hills, Maryland, who stands at 6'3". And 3 forwards in the lineup for Coach Chris Reisman. Jesse Hill, a 6'8" senior from Waretown, New Jersey. Josh Hawley, a 6'7" junior forward from Irving, Texas. And Sam Marshall, a 6'6" sophomore from Coppell, Texas. And Josh Hawley, the man to watch, a contender right now for the LSC Player of the Year award, averaging a double-double, 17.9 points and exactly 10 rebounds this season. Javelinas just saw one of the other contenders for Player of the Year, and Reggie Reed for Commerce doesn't get any easier against Josh Hawley tonight. And Hawley's a guy who can do it all. He's coming off a double-double against Angelo. He can also shoot the threes that hit 43% from beyond the arc this season. Simply a fantastic all-around player that the Javelinas will have to deal with. The starters for the Javelinas. At the guard spots are Sean Thomas, a 6-foot-tall junior from Houston, Texas. Jacoby Harris, a 6'2" senior from Delray, Florida. And Chauncey Thomas, a 6-foot-tall junior from Plano, Texas. The 2 forwards, Will Shire, a 6'8" freshman from Corpus Christi, and Robert Stevenson, a 6'7" senior from Houston, Texas. The Texans are coached by Chris Reisman in his first season after 17 years as an assistant at Tarleton State, against Johnny Estelle in his 5th year at the helm of this Javelina program. And Estelle assisted by Omar Gonzalez, Matt Pressey, and DeAndre Miller. The assistants for Coach Reisman, Mac McConnell, Nick Cantrell, and LaShawn Sheffield. And once again, the Javelinas in their throwback uniforms today, plain white and blue, against Tarleton in their black and purple. It'll be Stevenson against Josh Hawley, and that'll be a fantastic matchup. We saw Stevenson go up against one of the other top forwards in the conference earlier in the season. Ryan Quaid of West Texas held Quaid to 6 points. And Josh Hawley will be another test for Temuc's top defender, the senior forward, Robert Stevenson. Ball in the air, tip won by Stevenson. Shire feeds it back to Chauncey Thomas. Thomas leading assist man on this team. Rashawn Thomas and Chauncey Thomas, the two guards up top. Thomas coming off a 22-point game, or check that, against A&M Commerce, and Thomas quickly draws a foul on Corinthian Ramsey. Thomas set a season high for the Javelinas with 23 against Commerce. Thomas to Thomas. Rashawn Thomas left wide open. Can't hit the three. Hawley up for the board. It's grabbed by Jacoby Harris. And Chauncey Thomas will restart the offensive possession. We're opening possession here at the Spec. The time you see on the scoreboard is correct. We have no score. Harris with 18 to shoot. To Chauncey Thomas. Rashawn Thomas. Thomas for Harris. In for Shire. Pass to no one. Guarded by Jesse Hill. That'll turn it over to the Texans. Ramsey. Right for the sophomore Sam Marshall. Go. Ramsey gets it back, guarded by Chauncey Thomas. Trying to come to his aid is Marshall. Gets the ball with 7 to shoot. Inside to Hill. Working on Stevenson. Shot good.
22. Body set.
Javelinas have had a problem with slow starts in their last 3 games. Got down by double figures early against MSU, Texas, and Commerce. They did rally to beat the Mustangs. Rashawn Thomas gives Temuc the lead with a tray. And that was his weapon of choice against Commerce. He hit 4 threes in that game. Marshall. Driving inside is Brody. Has it knocked out of his hands by Thomas. Out of bounds to the Javelinas.
Hey, come on, Brody. Come on, baby.
Chauncey Thomas will bring it up for the Hogs to Harris. Harris trying to bounce back. A rough night for him against Commerce. 0 for 5 on free throws. 1 of 6 from the floor. Inside Shire underneath. Stevenson turns around and hits the baby hook.
Down screen.
Consecutive buckets for the Javelinas. Here is Corinthian Ramsey for Randall Brody. Ramsey against Thomas. Gets a pick. Open inside is Hill, but Stevenson comes to play defense. Stevenson knocks it away. Hill wants to go up against maybe the best defender in the LSC, and he's 2 for 2. Thomas ahead quickly. Jacoby Harris misses the up and under. Will Shire put back. Johnny Estelle loves those opportunities when the chance presents itself to run. He wants to see his team flying down the floor. The senior Ramsey against the junior Thomas. And that shot does not get the roll. Ahead to Thomas, knocked out of bounds by Marshall in good position. 7 of 4 ball game, opening minutes of what we expect to be a basketball game to go right down to the wire between 2 excellent teams. Thomas guarded by Ramsey. Looks like he was going to fall asleep guarding Thomas there for a second. Thomas, Harris, Chauncey Thomas gets it back. Rashawn Thomas, Harris. Stevenson calls for it inside. Back out to Chauncey Thomas. He heads in for Stevenson. Spins around, lost it. Marshall on the floor. Gets the pass off to Hill. And now Ramsey into the front court. Inside for Josh Hawley. And he can't get the shot to go. Chauncey Thomas the rebound. Right side, Harris wants to go inside, and he does draw contact. And that goes against Brody. And the army of subs preparing at the scorer's table for the Javelinas. Mickens, Mills, Mouton, and Severo. Stevens has already headed to the bench. Now he has to get up and stay on the court for an extra minute. And Richie Mitchell getting ready to check in for Tarleton. And they get Ramsey for an unsportsmanlike technical. And the official explaining it to Coach Chris Reisman. Take a look at the replay, and Ramsey, after the ball was on the floor, just batted it away. And the call came in the form, of a technical. Here's Thomas at the free throw line. And Ramsey looked like he might have given a little lip to the official after the official wanted to discuss it with him. That got him called for the tech. And that's the third on Ramsey. And here's Harris after Thomas hits 2 free throws. And Harris having trouble at the free throw line. At least trouble with that first one. Just takes one to fall to get that feel back. Harris, one of the senior captains on this Javelina squad, and gets the roll on the second one. So it's a 10-4 lead for Temuque. John Mouton comes into the game. And Josh Hawley will inbound it. And we'll see with Stevenson out of the game how much the Texans decide to go to Hawley inside against the freshman Will Shire. Mills against Brody. Wants to go inside, pulls up free throw line, no good. Trying to tip the rebound to himself is Hill, and instead it gets knocked around and comes to Severo. Here is Mickens. Mickens, the hot hand on this Javelina team. Into the corner, Alex Mills for 3. And the Javelinas off to a fast start here in the first 4.5 minutes. Timeout for the Texans. And at 15:35, we'll take a break. 9-point lead for Temuque. We'll be right back. And Tarleton back out of the timeout. Brody, Hawley, Goldsmith, Mitchell, and Hill on the floor for Temuque. Jamel Bradley comes into the game for Will Shire. Still always likes to get his reserves involved early. Doesn't want anyone getting cold on the bench, because you see different guys playing a lot in crunch time. Jamel Bradley and John Mouton had big-time minutes against Commerce on Thursday. But the lineup can always change towards the end of the game. Brody to Mitchell up top, guarded by Alex Mills. Swinging it right for Brody, back to Mitchell. Right, left open is Brody, and he takes advantage. And Mickens will bring it up to set up the Javelina offense. Bradley. Mickens heads inside. Mouton. For Mills. Trying to use the glass. Mickens can't get the shot to fall, but he'll shoot 2 free throws. And they get Mitchell for that one. That's one on him. Commerce with 4 team fouls. And here is the freshman Mickens, 65% this season from the charity stripe. Mickens has scored in double figures in 8 straight games, and free throws were such an issue for this team against Commerce on Thursday. And Mickens misses them both. Javelina's hit 18 of 30. Now Severo with the ball. Lost his presence of mind for a second. Almost had it knocked away. And I believe that's another foul on Mitchell. No, that's make that 2 on Brody. Chinook hit 18 of 23. And quickly off the bench to come in as Preston Enlow. Mickens. Out to Mouton. Mouton had 11 points, including a trio of threes on Thursday night. Mills will try again from deep. That one's no good. Bradley can't get the rebound. It's grabbed instead by Goldsmith. Goldsmith across half court for Mitchell. Mitchell wants to go inside, and a foul called. They wave off the bucket.
That went in. That went in, Randall. Basket went in. Basket went in.
And now they're going to count the basket with the foul. After Chris Reisman threatened to throw a fit. It'll be a chance at a 3-point play for Richie Mitchell. And 3-point play makes it a 3-point game. Full court press on for Tarleton. Across half court to Mickens. Mickens in a double team. Pass for Mouton. And another foul called against Tarleton. That one is on Josh Hawley. Mickens for Mouton. Bradley trying to work the inside. 5 to shoot. Mouton moves inside. That one's too strong. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Hawley. But the shot clock violation will give the ball to Tarleton. And they're going to keep it with Tamook, saying that the ball did hit the rim. Either that or the Tarleton had possession. Mickens. Bradley up for the jump shot. That one's no good. Hawley sky high for the rebound.
Hey, 4 good.
Hawley. Mitchell. Picked by Clashawn Gaffney. Left side for Goldsmith. Inside. Knocked out of bounds by Tarleton. Great play by Mickens coming in from behind to tip that ball. And Gaffney was the last one to touch it before it went out of bounds. Javelina's looking for their first bucket in 2.5 minutes since Alex Mills' 3 gave them a 9-point lead. Mickens for Mills. Bradley left for Mouton. 8 to shoot. Mouton wants to go inside. Out for Mickens. Mickens with a floater for 2. Mitchell against Mickens. Preston Enlow. Goldsmith. And I believe they'll get Jamel Bradley for a foul inside. That's the second foul against the Javelinas. Bradley has had a tendency to commit those fouls on the inside away from the ball. And foul trouble has been a little bit of an issue for the former Corpus Christi Islander. Mitchell for Enlow. Mills fights through a couple screens to get to Mitchell up top. Enlow against Bradley. Pass off the feet of Gaffney, but no Javelina's there to grab it. Goldsmith can't make them pay. Rebounded by Mickens. Mickens, Severo thought about the three. Mutano tried instead. That's an air ball. And another Tamuk foul. That one goes against Severo. And with Severo having 2 fouls, Stevenson comes back in. Rashawn Thomas will replace Alex Mills.
4 games strong. 4 games strong.
Tarleton, I should say, 4 of 8 to start this game. The Javelinas 5 of 11. Mitchell for Goldsmith. Marshall, swing it left for Preston Enlow. Fighting inside with Stevenson is Gaffney. Goldsmith wants to get it inside to Gaffney. Stevenson and him still battling. Goldsmith with 5 to shoot. Gets the layup, can't get it to go. Gaffney the rebound, throws it up to draw the foul. That one goes against Mouton. There are a few things in this world that aggravate Johnny Estelle more than giving up offensive rebounds. But Gaffney will have 2 shots when we come back from break. 11:39 to play before the half. It's 15-10 Javelinas. We'll be right back. .15-10 ball game with just under 8.5 minutes off the clock. Only 3 players on the score sheet for Tarleton: Brody, Hill, and Mitchell. 5 points for Rashawn Thomas lead the Javelinas. Each team already with at least 1 player with 2 fouls. For Tarleton, Ramsey and Brody, 2 of their starters already have a pair against them. Brody with one of them being that technical. For the Javelinas, Severo with 2 fouls. And Tarleton just 1 foul away from putting the Hogs at the bonus. Stevenson, Shire, Thomas, Mickens, Jacoby Harris come out of Tamuk's huddle as Gaffney, a 62% shooter, will shoot 2. Gaffney 24 of 39 from the charity stripe this season. And first one rims out. Gaffney wearing the goggles remind me of Horace Grant, old player for the Bulls and the Magic back in the 90s. Gaffney, a 6'7" sophomore from Clarksville, Texas. And he hits 1 of 2. Mickens caught in a double team. Loose ball comes to Stevenson, and then a poor pass is stolen by Mitchell. Good pressure applied by the Texans. Third turnover of the game for the Javelinas. Goldsmith over Stevenson for 2. And Tarleton right now on a 9-2 run. Mickens for Harris. Harris in the corner for Shire. Thomas with 10 to shoot. Harris with a kick ball by Mitchell. So with 7 to shoot, the Hogs will reset. Chauncey Thomas in for Mickens. Shot clock back at 20 after the kick ball. Thomas. Harris back to Thomas. Inside for Shire for the jump shot. That one's no good. Rebound comes right back to Stevenson. Back to Shire. He'll try it again. That one's short. And that rebounded by Mitchell. Tarleton has not led so far in this game. Or check that their last lead was 2-0. Mitchell for three. And a foul. I believe they will get Gaffney for his first. And Jesse Hill back in the game. And so now here's a 1-on-1 for Stevenson. 55%. Rebounded by Hill. Stevenson, again, one of the best defenders in this conference, but free throws have always been tough on him. Goldsmith throwing it right to Stevenson for a steal, quickly redeeming himself. Thomas wants to go inside, out for Harris. Harris for Rashawn Thomas. Inside, Shire will spot up that one off the front of the rim again, and Shire missing the shooting touch early on. And Jamel Bradley off the bench take the freshman's place at the next stoppage. Enlow for Goldsmith, 13 to shoot. Hill has it blocked by Stevenson, and they call it jump ball. The possession arrow will keep it with Tarleton with 6 seconds to shoot. Hawley and Bowling check back in for Tarleton State.
6 seconds flat. 6 seconds flat.
And Bradley, as we said, in for Shire. Hawley, Bowling, Hill, traveled.
All right, 22.
Scoring drought of more than 2 minutes since Brandon Goldsmith's layup made this a 2-point game again. Thomas, Harris for Rashawn Thomas. Harris with 10 to shoot. Thomas draws the foul, can't hit the shot. He'll take 2 free throws. If that's on Mitchell, that's his second. And indeed, it does go against the junior from Michigan City, Indiana. And the Henleys doing a good job in that area so far, getting to the free throw line. And Thomas makes it. Javelina is now just 4 of 8 from the charity stripe. And this really has been an issue for this team going back to last season. So many close losses where free throws played an enormous role. And Thomas can't hit them both. Hawley the rebound. Mitchell against Thomas. Sam Marshall has it knocked away by Jacoby Harris.
Let's go. Swing, 4 game.
7 total turnovers, 4 by the Texans, 3 for Chimook so far. Teams even in rebounds. Tarleton shooting 41.7 from the floor. Javelina's 35.7. Thrown into the backcourt where Mitchell will go grab it. Into the corner for Bowling against Rashawn Thomas. Spotting up and hitting is Jesse Hill. 6 points for him. Harris for Thomas. Thomas will put up the long three. No good. Rebound tipped, and it comes to Bowling. Into the corner for Hawley, and he'll spot up and shoot that three if it's open. Tries the long jump shot, and there's Tarleton's first lead since it was 2-0. And this has been a 13-3 run for the visitors. Stevenson for Thomas. Harris up for the layup. Tarleton's done a good job for the most part of taking away those lanes for the drivers, but Harris found one there. Marshall for Hill. Met inside by Rashawn Thomas. And then a foul on Stevenson. That's one on him. That's also the fifth on Tamuk. Brandon Goldsmith coming in. And as we go to immediate timeout, 7:03 to go in a 1-point game, we'll be right back at the Spec. Tarleton at the free throw line to try a pair after Robert Stevenson picked up his first foul. Javelina's had a 9-point lead at the 15:47 mark of the first half, but since then Tarleton has dissolved that lead slowly but surely. Went up by one a moment ago. And Jesse Hill, a 79% foul shooter back at the free throw line, trying to make them both. And drains the first one. 7 points for Hill. Hill has scored as many as 20 points this season. He's already at 8. Thomas waving away the help. Chauncey Thomas into the front court. Pass to Rashawn Thomas out of the double team. Thomas and Thomas. Bradley with 11 to shoot. Tarleton has really kept Tamuk on the perimeter in their recent offensive possessions. 4 to shoot. Thomas and an offensive foul. Gives it to Tarleton. I don't know how that's an offensive foul, but when Rashawn Thomas gets run over on the other side, there was no offensive foul. And Goldsmith to inbound it. Goldsmith and Mitchell back and forth. Goldsmith. Hill against Stevenson. And Hill showing no fear against Stevenson. Rebound almost grabbed by Hawley. Instead it comes to Bradley. Thomas trying to run. Harris with the one-handed jam and the foul. Jacoby Harris with an emphatic dunk over the sophomore Jesse Hill. Draws the foul as well. Trying to give his team back a 2-point lead. And that one, Jacoby Harris living right. He's got 6 points. He comes out for John Mouton. Brody comes in for Bowling for Tarleton. That foul against Hill was his second. He goes to the bench as well. Goldsmith to Mitchell. Mitchell gets a pick from Gaffney. And another one, Harris. Mills on Brody. Ramsey wants it inside, kicked out of bounds by Mills. .5:41 to go before halftime. 21-19 lead for the Javelinas. Gaffney. Hawley. Still looking for his first points of the day. And I believe they're going to call Tamuk for a foul on the floor. That's a push on Chauncey Thomas. That's his second. That'll put Mitchell at the line for a 1-and-1. And good free throw shooters up and down this team for Tarleton. And they're led by Sam Mitchell, who's 21 of 22 from the line this season. You got Hill is at 79, Mitchell at 78, Brody at 79, Enlow at 79, Ramsey at 78. And Mitchell trying to tie it up. And it's stating the obvious, but stats like that are so enormous at the end of basketball games. Mouton in the front court. And now Mickens will set up the offense from the point guard spot. Mouton for Alex Mills. Mouton for Mills, 5 to shoot. Mouton, now Mickens. Shot clock at 3. Mickens has to put up the 3. No good. Rebounded. Good position by Goldsmith to collect the board. Inside goes Mitchell. Now Goldsmith. Hawley. Mitchell with the shot clock halfway expired. Goldsmith on Mills. Or I should say maybe Mills on Goldsmith. 8 to shoot. Mitchell. Lane clears out. Pick is set. Blocked. Looked like Zach Mickens might have gotten a hand on that. It's out of bounds. And I believe, we'll check the inbound. I believe this will be Tarleton ball. And sure enough, Mitchell coming to inbound it.
Flat two.
Working the corner, almost stolen by Mickens, but there'll just be another inbounds play for the Texans. And Corinthian Ramsey back into the game with 2 fouls. Down screen. Brody back to Ramsey. Alley-oop to Josh Hawley. And Tarleton ahead by 2 for the first time since it was 2-0. Mickens into a double team again, and they'll call a foul on Brody. I believe that's his third. And that'll mean 2 shots for the Javelinas. Oh, no, actually they're going to call that on Goldsmith, and Goldsmith with no fouls more than happy to accept it. 2 shots for Darius Mickens. And Mickens pockets the first one. and they're missing them both his first trip to the line. Shire in for Bradley. And Bradley quickly having a word with his coach, Johnny Estelle. Estelle doing most of the talking. Bradley missing 1 of 2. Ramsey for Brody. Hawley for Goldsmith. Ramsey now gets it back. Gaffney setting a pick. Ramsey going in on Stevenson. Outside for Brody. Goes up over Mills. Can't hit the 3. Stevenson to Mickens. Inside for Shire going against Gaffney. The up and under layup. And Darius Mickens with a silly foul in the backcourt. And Omar Gonzalez saying to Mickens, why? Why are you so aggressive in the backcourt? That'll give Tarleton a 1-and-1. The only good news is that was Mickens' first foul, but free throws and we come back. In a 1-point game, Hogs ahead 24-23. We'll be right back. This is the Javelina Sports Network. Back at the Spec on Throwback Day as the Javelinas battle the Tarleton State Texans in a game that's been nip and tuck throughout this first half. Javelinas with a 24-23 lead, but Tarleton about to attempt a 1-and-1 after Darius Mickens picked up his first foul. Both teams 8 of 19 from the floor. The most glaring stat in the box score, Tarleton 6 of 7 on free throws. The Javelinas 6 of 12. And here's Ramsey for the 1-and-1. Tarleton also with a slight edge on the glass, 14-11. Each team with 4 turnovers. And one of the officials confirming that this is a 1-and-1. Here is Ramsey. Ramsey, the senior from Arlington, with a very odd free throw. Never seen a free throw routine like that where he doesn't turn it to find the rim. Shot, free throw missed. Gaffney with it. Ball on the floor. Stevenson has it. Mickens to Mills. Mills does not get the foul. Can't hit the layup. Hawley loses it in the backcourt. It comes to Brody. Goldsmith for Brody. Right for Ramsey in a tie ball game. Hawley. 10 to shoot. Will try the 3. Rebounded by Mickens. Mickens for Stevenson. And Mickens gets it back. Less than 3 minutes till halftime. Inside, Stevenson for Mills. Shire for Mouton. Mickens guarded by Ramsey. Stevenson sets a pick. Shire for Mickens, rises up. Can't hit. Hawley the rebound, and they call a foul inside on, I believe, Will Shire. I check that. That's on Mouton. Harris in for Tamuk. Marshall in for Goldsmith for Tarleton. Another 1-and-1. This one with Hawley at the free throw line. Misses the front end. Stevenson the rebound. Mickens finds Mills. Mills will rise and fire and hits. 6 points for Alex Mills. Has his family in attendance this weekend. Marshall, Gaffney, trying to give it to Ramsey, now finally does. Ramsey on Mills, underneath to Gaffney, who's blocked, but they get Stevenson for his second foul. And with Tamuk over the limit, Gaffney will shoot 2. Gaffney to the free throw line for the second time. Jamal Bradley and Rashawn Thomas come in for Mills and Stevenson. Estelle obviously doesn't want Stevenson to pick up that third foul here in the first half. And Gaffney hits 1 of 2. Shire, Thomas and Shire, and Harris all in the back court. Harris back to Shire. Middle of the court to Darius Mickens. Thomas for Harris. Mickens with 9 seconds to shoot. Thomas at 5. Mickens at the free throw line. Can't hit. Tries to get it back. Ball's loose. Gives it up to Harris. And Temuka will restart. 80 seconds to play till we hit halftime. Bradley. Mickens for Thomas. Shire has that ball tipped, but it comes to Mickens anyway. Mickens the floater over Clayshawn Gaffney for 2 more. 5 points for Darius Mickens. 4-point Temuka lead as we go under a minute. Probably a possession remaining for each team. Ramsey gets the pick. Now fires over Shire, no good. There's a shoe on the floor. Mickens doesn't have a shoe on. And he's running with it half on right now. And now finally stops and puts it all the way on and gets a pass from Harris. 15 to shoot. Thomas for Mickens. Almost lost it. Ball loose, out of bounds to the Texans. And now Ramsey, Tarleton can hold for the last shot. Waving away a Gaffney pick. Ramsey wants to take. Now he asks for the pick to come back. Ramsey out for Brody. Gets the man in the air. The 3 is good just before the buzzer. Randall Brody makes it a 1-point game as we head to the locker room. And for the Headlands, plays like that were such an issue against Commerce when there were ball screens. Commerce got so many open looks off of plays like that. And Tarleton utilizing another one to get Brody open for the final shot of the half. 1-point game as we hit halftime here at the Spec. And the Javelinas ahead by a point, 29-28. We'll come right back. We'll go over all the stats. We'll take you around the LSC, all that and more. When we return to halftime at the Spec on the Javelina Sports Network. said as this game was beginning, we expect a really close, outstanding basketball game. And that's exactly what we have through one half. Just a single point separating Temuque and Tarleton State. And not a big difference in the shooting numbers. Tarleton 9 of 22, 40.9. Temuque 10 of 25, which is 40% even. The Texans are 2 of 8 from 3. The Javelinas are 3 of 9. Tarleton with a slim edge, 18 to 15 on the glass, but the Hogs with one more offensive rebound than their opponents. And only 9 combined turnovers. Tarleton with one more. They have 5. Each team had a lead in the first half. Temuque had the largest lead, leading by 9 early in the half. But Tarleton put together a 13-3 run to take a 1-point lead. Javelinas came back, regained it, and then the last shot right before the half, a 3 from Randall Brody. And we have a 1-point basketball game. Both teams with pretty balanced scoring attacks so far. 7 players have scored for the Javelinas, and the exact same number are on the board for Tarleton. Jesse Hill with 8 for the Texans. Jacoby Harris and Alex Mills with 6 for the Javelinas. And those are your leading scorers. We'll take one more quick break. We'll come right back. We'll go around the LSC in just a moment. (29-28) our score through one half of play at the Steinke Physical Education Center. The Javelinas with a slight edge over the Tarleton State Texans. And this one of 3 games in action, one of 3 games going on right now in the Lone Star Conference. And I'll give you a look at the other 3 contests that are going on. In San Angelo, the Lions, the A&M Commerce Lions, battling the Angelo State Rams, and ASU demolishing Commerce through one half, 39-19 the score in that game. And those are the 2 teams directly ahead of the Javelinas in the LSC standings. And the Hogs will visit Angelo State in their next conference game. That is a week from today, when they will play in Angelo State. And the Rams trying to make a statement today. West Texas is in Lawton against Cameron. They lead that one by 15, 44-29. And Eastern New Mexico is visiting Midwestern State in the 4th game on the docket at the Lone Star Conference today, between 2 teams fighting for that 8th spot, the final spot in the conference tournament right now. Midwestern at 2-8, and they are 6-14 overall. While Eastern New Mexico entered the day at 4-6, they are 7-11. Entering the day. And both of those teams recently here in Kingsville. And the Javelinas managed to pick up wins over both schools. And the score at halftime of that one, MSU Texas 39 and Eastern New Mexico 25. Now, once again, plenty of action around Javelina Nation this weekend. The Javelina tennis team picked up a victory yesterday. The Javelina softball team, after winning twice yesterday, picked up a win over Minnesota Duluth today, over a Minnesota Duluth team that made it all the way to Super Regionals in the Women's College World Series last season. But Craig Nicholson's softball team is 3-0 to start the season. Jason Gonzalez's baseball team, which won regionals last year, and of course went to the College World Series, unfortunately taking their 2nd consecutive loss today, losing to Central Missouri by a score of 11-6. And we're going to take one more break. We'll be right back with the second half from the Spec. We got a 1-point game. You don't want to miss the final 20 minutes of this one. We'll be back in just a moment. Both teams just finishing warming up, and 1/2 a play remaining. Foul situation going for both teams. Each squad has 4 players with 2 fouls. For Tamuk, that's Chauncey Thomas, Robert Stevenson, Daniel Severo, and John Mouton. For Tarleton, that's Ramsey, Brody, Hill, and Mitchell. Now the best thing the Hogs have done is really kept Josh Hawley from having an enormous impact on this game. Does have 5 rebounds, but only 4 points so far. That being said, 20 minutes is all he needs to put together an impressive stat line. We'll see exactly how Tarleton continues to utilize Hawley in the second half of this game. Coming off 18-12 on Thursday, and his team's lost against Angelo State. One of these teams is going to leave this arena mighty frustrated with their second straight loss. For the Javelinas, they're trying to keep their home record above 500. They're 5-4 at home. Tarleton just 2-4 in true road games this season. And here's Chauncey Thomas. Stevenson back to Chauncey Thomas. Swing it left for Rashawn Thomas. Harris. Thomas trying to get it inside to Shire. Stolen by Ramsey. Ramsey almost lost it, but maintains control. Harris whistled for a foul against Brody. That's the first on Jacoby Harris. Ramsey and Thomas up top with 15 to shoot. Pass for Marshall. Thomas trying to play defense. Big height advantage for Marshall, who's 6'6" over Rashawn Thomas at 6 feet. Ramsey inside. Hill trying to add to his team high total. He uses the window to do so. 10 points for him. Ahead for Jacoby. Harris has the ball stripped, but gets fouled.
Hey, we gotta get back. Go.
And that one goes on Hawley. That's his first. Into Shire. He gets hit from behind by Ramsey.
Contain, Josh. Contain.
Harris. Thomas thought about passing inside to Shire. Inside Shire, trying to get it underneath for Stevenson. Stevenson got hit with the ball. Is behind the play. Hawley, right corner, Brody to Hill for the dunk. Javelina's got caught playing 5-on-4 on defense there and couldn't recover. Tarleton with its largest lead at 3 points. Harris. Thomas. Javelina's stagnant on offense right now. 10 to shoot. Harris with 5 on the shot clock will rise and fire. That one short. Hawley the rebound. Ramsey out for Brody. Left wide open. Hawley, and Tarleton's offense is hitting on all cylinders. Timeout for Coach Estelle. A 7-0 run to start the second half. And we'll take a break. 17:54 to play in the second half. 6-point lead for Tarleton. Their largest of the game. We'll be right back. Javelina is trailing by 2 possessions for the first time today. And Coach Estelle with the timeout. Trying to find a strategy to get the Hogs back in sync on offense. Their offense really looked stagnant on their first few possessions of the half. Inside for Severo. Severo will spot up and shoot. No good. Rebound knocked just over the outstretched arms of Daniel Severo. Ramsey into the front court. Ramsey to Hawley for another alley-oop. Harris for Shire. And will Shire in and out. Shire's not been able to find the range on offense. Severo, though, with the rebound. Thomas will try a 3. Severo back for the board. Severo turns it over with a travel.
Press break. Go again. Good. Yeah. 25.
Texans trying to extend an 8-point lead. And they have come out and completely controlled the early action in the second half. Brody inside, can't get the layup, and I believe they'll get Will Shire for a foul. Mouton and Mickens come in for Harris and Chauncey Thomas. Brody. Ramsey over Mickens. In and out. Rebounded by Shire. Thomas in the corner. The floater cooperates. 7 points for Rashawn Thomas. Those are the first points of the second half for the Javelinas. Brody to Marshall, inside to Hawley against Shire. Hawley rises and fires, can't hit. Rebounded by Severo. Mickens. Severo. Back to Darius Mickens. Mouton will try a 3. That one's off the mark. Brody back out to Ramsey. Marshall for Hawley. Ramsey against Thomas. Eight to shoot. Ramsey lost it. Ahead to Mouton. And Mouton way too strong, but the putback goes and a foul. And that's the second on Josh Hawley. 9 points for Rashawn Thomas. And we'll take a media timeout at the 15-minute mark to move back within 4. Rashawn Thomas going to the free throw line for a 3-point play opportunity. We'll be right back. This is Temuque men's basketball. Rashawn Thomas at the free throw line for the Javelins after drawing that foul. The second one on Josh Hawley. Hawley, the fifth Tarleton player, playing with 2 fouls now for the Javelin as they have 4. Severo, Mills, Thomas, Bradley. Or check that. Mills about to check in. So Thomas, Mouton, Bradley, Mickens, and Severo break the huddle. Thomas trying to bring the Hogs back within 1 possession. And he does his job. Rashawn Thomas with 10 points. Goldsmith into Brody, passing out of the double team. Ramsey in this Tarleton offense, led by Josh Hill, who has 12 points. Ramsey into Hill against Severo. He wants to go to work in the low post, lost it. Mickens almost lost it, slows it down. Mills, Mouton wide open, no good. Ramsey throws it, and an over-the-shoulder catch by Goldsmith. Goldsmith runs over Severo for an offensive foul. That's 3 on him. Mitchell and Gaffney back into the game for the Texans. And Hill, apologies if you heard that, come off the floor. Mills against Mickens, or I should say Mills to Mickens, as the freshmen were on the point for this Javelina offense. Mills and Chauncey Thomas started the year as the point guard, but Mickens has really taken on a big part of that role. Poor pass by Mouton, stolen. Mouton steals it right back. Mouton wants to go to the rack with a bucket and the foul. And Mouton now with a chance to tie the game. And John Mouton has tied the game, even at 37. And so the Javelinas have now scored 8 straight points. Goldsmith, Brody. Rises and fires and hits. 9 points. Mickens. Bradley for Mills. Mickens with Bradley asking for it inside. Mills to Mouton, 9 to shoot. Mouton, that should be an offensive foul, and it is. Man got there in time, and Mouton just put his shoulder down like a running back and ran him over. Goldsmith inbounding it to Richie Mitchell. Gaffney lost it. Mickens with Goldsmith back on defense. Mouton gets hit. There's no foul, but Mickens lays it up and in. 7 points for Mickens. It's a 1-point game. Brody steps back and swishes another one. 11 points for him. Bradley will turn, can hit. Mouton, the rebound, wants to go right back up and draws the foul. And so Mouton to the free throw line. That one's the first on Sam Marshall. That's now 5 fouls on Tarleton. The Javelinas with 3 against them. And we'll take another media timeout at 11:50. 42-39 the lead for Tarleton as we take a break from the Spec. Two shots coming up for John Mouton. After the media timeout. Tarleton shooting 6 of 9 from the floor here in the second half. The good news for the Hogs is you don't think Tarleton can keep that up for the entire second half. And Mouton, first shot is true. Mouton again coming off an 11-point night against A&M Commerce. And he hits both free throws here. We got a 1-point game. Back and forth we go. We were tied at 37. Then Tarleton hit a 3. Tamook responded with 2. Tarleton hit another 2. And now 2 free throws from Mouton. We got a 1-point game again. Marshall. Brody now giving it to Mitchell. Pass to no one. Mills has it. Tamook with a chance to take the lead for the first time since the beginning of this half. Mills will fire a 3. No good. And we get a foul on the inside. I believe that'll be on Gaffney. That's 2 on him. The 6th against Tarleton. And Jesse Hill and Josh Hawley check back in. No shots, although the next one will be a 1-and-1. As Tarleton's at 6. Mickens into the backcourt for Jacoby Harris. Tamook looking for its first lead since it was 29-28. Mickens for Severo, right for Alex Mills. Mickens with Severo on the inside, and he's fouled by Hill. And I believe that'll be Jesse Hill's 3rd foul. And Hill with an emphatic shake of the head. Not happy with the call. Ramsey in. Oh, no, Mitchell was going to come out. No, now it'll be Brody. And a quick blow for Randall Brody here in the second half. So for Severo, this is a 1-and-1.
One.
Severo at 62%, and another missed free throw for the Javelinas.
All right, 4 good.
Ramsey inside for Hill. Hawley wants it on the perimeter, gets it outside. And this is something that happened for the Javelinas so many times against Commerce, it seemed like. They'd make it a one-point game, or they'd tie the game, they'd have maybe a chance to take the lead, and they couldn't do it. The other team would come back and hit a big bucket, and Timucua would be right back where it started. Hawley has 12. Harris for 2. Josh Hawley right now with 12 points and 7 rebounds. Both of those stats are a game high, although as I mentioned before, Jesse Hill does also have 12. Here's Ramsey. Hawley. Inside for Hill. Loose ball taken by the Hogs. Chris Raceman out on the court looking for a foul. And a terrible pass by Mickens right to Hawley to turn it over. Mitchell. 8 to shoot. Mitchell up and under, no good. Bradley the rebound. Here goes Mickens again. Straight to the rack, and we're tied. 9 points for the freshman from Willis, Texas. Ramsey inside, no good. Rebounded by Bradley. Another chance for the Hogs to take the lead. And a poor pass stolen by Ramsey. Dribbles it off his foot. Harris manages to control it and then holds on. So frustrating turnovers for both teams on consecutive plays. 8.5 to play in a tie ball game.
Shooter!
Bradley, Mickens, Mills, contested 3, who cares? He hits it, he's got 9. Hogs' first lead since it was 29-28 to start the half. Goldsmith, 11 to shoot. Mitchell in the corner. And a foul by Severo. I believe that's his second. That'll be the 4th against the Hogs. And we'll go to a media timeout with 7:54 to go in a 3-point game. Timucua up 48-45. Turnovers in this game favoring the Javelinas, 13 for Tarleton compared to 11 for the home team. And some frustrating giveaways on both ends over the course of these last few minutes. Thomas against Ramsey on the perimeter. Left wide open and tying it up is Randall Brody. 14 points for him. Thomas to Thomas. Still no Robert Stevenson for the Javelinas right now. Thomas for Chauncey Thomas. Jamel Bradley giving it back. 13 to shoot inside. Severo out for Jacoby Harris. 9 to shoot. Thomas! No good. Jacoby Harris for the rebound. Thomas getting a pick from Severo, but defended well by Tarleton. Ramsey almost lost his balance for a second. Thomas, back to Thomas. That one comes right back to him. He wants to go to the rack, can't do it. The tip doesn't go, and Hill finally collects the rebound.
Hey, open two, open two, open two, open two.
Goldsmith, Hill. Mitchell gives it back to Jesse Hill. 5 to shoot. Smith goes to the rack and draws a foul on Jacoby Harris. So that's Harris' second. 5 fouls against the Javelinas. 2 shots for Brandon Goldsmith. 70% this season. You see, these are his first free throws of the day. And Ramsey finally just walking up from the back court, frustrated as if he was kicking at something. Ramsey fell down a couple times in that last Javelina offensive possession, but the referee says, no, the floor is okay. Goldsmith hits them both. And Tarleton back in front. Bradley for Thomas. For Chauncey Thomas in the front court. Harris, Thomas goes inside, gets his man in the air, has it blocked out of bounds to the Javelinas.
6 seconds, 6 seconds. All right. Stay with them. Watch 3. Go put it on the court. Come on.
Thomas. And Thomas is going to give up a 5-second. No, he doesn't. He gets it to Severo, who lays it up and in. And we're tied. That seemed like a long 5 seconds. Severo's first bucket ties the game at 50. Ramsey. Brody back to Ramsey. Gets a pick by Hill. Trying the alley-oop again. Doesn't work that time. And then Severo has it knocked out of his hands from behind, and it's tossed into Hawley. And a frustrated Daniel Severo after that giveaway. Brody wanted to get it into Hill, instead Goldsmith against Thomas. 8 to shoot. Brody for the jumper. That one's long. Hawley had the rebound, and Tarleton picks up another offensive board. Goldsmith. Hill against Severo, lost it, out of bounds to the Javelinas. Hill thought he got fouled. The referee disagreed. And cleaning up a wet spot on the floor. Chris Hintz, take a look at that replay, and no, Hill just lost his balance. There was no foul on that play. Hill, I think, lost it a little bit after a swipe of the ball by Jacoby Harris, but there was nothing that warranted a foul. Gaffney into the game for Tarleton, and what I'd imagine will be a really quick moment on the bench for Jesse Hill. He's had a great game with 12 points. Hill is 5 of 8, 12 points, 4 boards. Thomas Harris. Back to Chauncey Thomas. Harris and Thomas back and forth on the perimeter. Pick from Bradley. Harris with 7 to shoot. Will hit. First 3 of the day for Jacoby Harris. He's got 11. Ramsey. Ramsey wants to go on Thomas. Underneath, Gaffney has it blocked, but Bradley's called for a foul. And not a bad foul there by Bradley. It's just his second. It is the 6th against the Hogs, but make him work for those 2 points rather than go for the jam. And Rashawn Thomas right now hearing it from Coach Johnny Estelle and his assistant Omar Gonzalez. 2 shots for Clayshawn Gaffney. Gaffney, about the only Tarleton player who's had an issue from the free throw line. He's 2 of 5. He missed them both. Jamel Bradley collects an enormous rebound. A rare empty possession for Tarleton. Chauncey Thomas wanted to drive, now backs it out. Quick to DM up is Randall Brody. Thomas for Harris. Back to Chauncey Thomas, and Jesse Hill getting ready to check back in. Harris from the left side. No good. Rebound out to Tarleton. Goldsmith had it, lost it, gets it back, draws a foul. We'll shoot 2. So 3:33 to play in a 3-point game. That foul goes against Jacoby Harris, his 3rd. Tamuk with 7. We'll take a break. And this one going right down to the wire. We'll be right back on Javelina Sports. Neither team has led by double figures in this game. Tamuk's largest lead was 9. That was way back in the first half. Tarleton led by 8 early in the second until the Javelinas came back, and they came back and evened the score before now retaking the lead. Ahead by 3 after Jacoby Harris hit his first 3 of the game. Tarleton now going to the free throw line for 2 shots after Jacoby Harris got called for his 3rd foul. And free throws actually are right about even now with those last 2 misses by Gaffney. Tarleton 10 of 16, the Hogs 10 of 17. Tarleton shooting a much higher percentage overall, 47.2 from the floor compared to 39.6 for Tamuk. Tarleton also 6 of 13 from beyond the arc. The Hogs 5 of 18. Rebounds 27 to 26, can't get much closer. And turnovers 14 for Tarleton, 11 for the Javelinas. This a 2-shot foul, and Goldsmith, a 70% shooter, hits the first one. And Goldsmith hits them both. He's got 5 points. Hogs lead is down to 1. And Bradley tosses it across half court to Chauncey Thomas. Hogs have not led by more than 3 at any point here in the second half.
Texas!
Thomas for Harris.
Texas!
Perimeter Bradley with 7 to shoot. Thomas gets a pick by Severo. Harris will try another 3. That one's going to be long. And a shot clock violation gives the ball to the Texans.
We're not switching out. Jess is coming up. You know what I'm saying? Text you.
And a quick discussion in front of me between Reisman and Randall Brody. Goldsmith into Ramsey. Ramsey with a team high 3 assists so far in this game. Goldsmith. Brody against Harris. Shot clock at 10. Hawley sets a pick. Harris right back to his man, trying to use the window, and a blocking foul called against the Javelinas. They get Severo for his 4th. And you wonder maybe something's wrong with Robert Stevenson for him to have not been in the game this long. Coach still likes to play the hot hand. If he feels like a player is playing well, he'll leave him in the game. But Stevenson has been one of his stalwarts and also a fantastic defender, as I mentioned before. It's really surprising to see him on the bench for this long of a stretch. But it's Severo and Bradley, not Shire and Stevenson, who were the 2 starters at the forward spots. 15 for Randall Brody, and we're even at 53. And Brody gives his team the lead. In the corner, Thomas thought about the 3, instead passed it up. Maybe didn't want to put up a shot so early in the shot clock. Tamu trying to regain a 1-point lead. Inside Severo against Hill for 2. 4 points for him. Both teams are in the bonus right now. Ramsey. Out for Goldsmith. Almost lost it. Goldsmith for 3. Wow. And the Javelinas will call a timeout with 1:42 to go. Tarleton now ahead by 2. 102 seconds to go. The Hogs now trailing by 2.
Just to reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, if you were a former player, former coach here in Javelinas.
Tarleton 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. They are 5 of 6 from 3 here in the second half. They're shooting 60%. And the Javelinas have 7. The thing that's kept Tumuk in the game is 7 offensive rebounds and 7 second chance points off of those offensive boards here in the second half. And Tumuk with still Bradley and Severo on the floor. Severo playing with his 4 fouls. Thomas for Bradley. Hogs trying to even the score here. Harris pulls up to try and tie it. No good. Hill is the only guy there for the rebound. Corinthian Ramsey against Thomas. Tumuk needs a stop. Brody. Ramsey. Hill. The alley-oop to Hawley. Another defensive breakdown for the Hogs. They trail by 4. Thomas underneath to Severo, who lost it. Across half court to Brody. 40 seconds to go, and finally a foul is given. And these are just the plays that have killed. This is the situation that have killed this Javelina team, even going back to last year. You get down in the late stages of these games, The other team makes shots, the Javelinas make mistakes, and that's been a huge issue for this team in close games going back to last season. And 2 shots for, I'll write that a 1-and-1 for Brody. And again, free throws for Tarleton, a huge asset being able to hit those shots in the late stages of this game. And now with it being a 5-point game, to move into the front court. They have to score and foul and hope for missed free throws now. Bradley will try a 3, no good. Rebounded almost by Severo, and I believe they'll get a foul against Tarleton. They get Jesse Hill for his 4th. And these are 2 shots for Severo. Trying to make this a 1-possession basketball game. The first one rims out. Javelina's 10 of 18 from the charity stripe tonight. And we get a whistle and a foul against Darius Mickens. And 2 shots now for Hill. So Tarleton going to pick up their 16th win of the season. And they will draw even with the Javelinas as far as record at 6-5, but they have the advantage of having beaten Temuque twice. So Tarleton will take over 4th place in the LSC. The Javelinas will drop to 5th. With consecutive losses. Three for Rashawn Thomas, no good. Rebounded by Goldsmith. And that's all she wrote for the Javelinas.
Just go 2. You pick it up, though. Don't foul, no.
Javelinas had a 1-point lead at the 2:14 mark in this game. They are up 55-54. Since then, Tarleton has scored 8 unanswered points. And Goldsmith makes it 9 straight. Bhutan will try a 3. Out of bounds to Tarleton. And Sam Marshall will inbound the ball for the Texans with 11.3 to play. Ramsey grabs it, and the Javelinas foul at 7.1.
February 5th, hosting Angelo State. Single game on Tuesday, 5:30 tip-off.
And the Javelinas will be back in action on Wednesday. They'll visit Texas A&M International in Laredo at 7:30, and they'll follow that up with a road visit to Angelo State a week from today. The next home game on the schedule for the Javelinas will be on February 21st against UT Permian Basin. Rashawn Thomas with a layup just before the buzzer. into the front court for Hawley. And that will do it. So the Texans win by 8 here at the Spec. We'll take a quick break and come right back and wrap this up. Here from the Spec, you're watching Javelina men's basketball. Javelina suffered their second consecutive loss, dropping this one 65-57 at Tarleton State. And another loss that's going to be really difficult for this team to cope with. Again, they had a lead following a Daniel Severo layup with 2:14 to go, and Tarleton scored 11 of the final 13 points. Only 2 points the Hogs scored in those final 2 minutes was Rashawn Thomas's layup moments before the buzzer.
Past and present, as we salute our university
And
the alma mater.
got to give credit to Tarleton. They hit their shots. They shot 50% from the floor today. They were 7 of 14 from 3. The Javelinas at 38.9, which is only slightly off their average. They were 5 of 21 from 3 today. Tamuk 29 rebounds. Each team with 29 boards actually in this one. Turnovers about even 14-13. And for Tarleton, Brody finishing with 20 points. Hill and Hawley each with 14. Hawley fell a little bit shy of the double-double, 14 and 8, but I bet you he doesn't care. For Tamuk, Rashawn Thomas with 12 and Jacoby Harris with 11. Once again, Tamuk's next game on Wednesday against A&M International. That game at 7:30 in Laredo. Their next home game is here against UTPB on Thursday, February 21st. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Mark and Sarah. Appreciate you spending your Saturday afternoon with us. And we'll see you back for Javelina basketball on the 21st here on the Javelina Sports Network.